We all hate pub stompers, but what actually makes a pub stomper? A pub stomper in a usual game, such as an FPS, is when a player much more skilled than their opponents effortlessly wins games and tops the scoreboard due to playing against very low skilled players. Why do players do this? Sometimes it's a result of matchmaking, other times it's a result of intentional seeking, because it's fun to dominate players at any level of the game. The most traditional example of this would be smurfing or hacking, unfairly gaining an advantage through either one, making an alternate account to fight lower leveled players, or two, using third party software in order to gain an unfair advantage over honest players. What makes it interesting is when games start having many characters to use, such as MOBAs or hero shooters. Pub stompers have similar qualities in most appearances. They usually have a playstyle that very heavily punishes mistakes. They have a combination of offensive and defensive qualities. They thrive in low skill environments because players can't counter it, while also being underpowered in higher skill environments because players can more effectively counter the tools that they have at their disposal. This means that these characters more accurately, could be a crutch for players, sort of artificially increasing their perceived skill level at the game while stagnating their skill. What's the best example of this, besides the aforementioned over here, would be the card Mega Knight in the free-to-play mobile RTS by Supercell Clash Royale. As we can see, his performance in lower level content, the left, he has a 17% usage rate with a 55% win rate, a top 5 card. Meanwhile, in higher level content, he's the 103rd card, a drop off of over 100 spots, or actually 100 spots exactly, showing how a card can dominate in lower skilled competition but fall off in higher skilled content. As we can see, Mega Knight has high damage, area damage, mobility, and high health, and a very low skill ceiling and floor thanks to his high resource cost. It takes about 70% of your own resources to use it to place him down. To counter this, he has weaknesses versus air troops, because he can't target air troops. He can be kited by troops that don't target units, such as an ice golem, and with good placement can activate your king tower for you. He will jump to your king tower, leading you to gain an extra line of defense, that being your king tower's cannon. In low to mid level content, Mega Knight dominates the competition simply because players don't have the skill or deck building to counter it efficiently. Some players don't have kiting troops, some players don't have many tanks that can counter Mega Knight, or just some players are too underpowered versus the Mega Knight that the opponent is using. In higher level play, levels are normalized and players are better at the game, having many tools to use. In this environment, Mega Knight has a limited niche, like being a good counter to decks like Fireball Bait, because his weaknesses are more pronounced in higher level content. He can't over level people anymore, and more people use air troops and generally play better decks. So why do we hate pub stompers? It's simple. The output is higher than the input. The skill ceiling for a Mega Knight is very low because he costs a lot of resources to use. You're putting in a lower amount of effort in order to win against players who don't have / are good enough to counter the pub stomper efficiently. Meanwhile, higher skilled players, the ubiquity of the pub stomper means that they have to play the same thing over and over again, reducing their attachment and retention of the game. Why does this happen? Well, when lower level players lose to a card like a Mega Knight, they feel cheated, they feel unfair. It looks powerful, and it dominates them. So what do? They use the card themselves, which means that they will either dominate people that can't counter the card efficiently, or lose to people who can counter the card efficiently, leading to this cycle where more and more people play Mega Knights while also staying at their same skill level, because they're just sort of flipping a coin, right? Either you counter it and you win, or you can't counter it and you lose. So how do we solve the pub stomper effect? there really isn't a way to solve the pub stomper effect that doesn't increase the skill floor of the game and therefore lowers the visibility of the scared game. That being said, having systems that are complicated makes it easier to justify having not disproportionately powerful characters, but simple characters, like Ryu from Street Fighter or Shadow Shaman from Dota 2. While these characters are both simple in their respective games, the genre that they inhabit, fighting games and MOBAs respectively, are very deep and require mechanical execution as well. Therefore, having simple, powerful characters there leads to an easier time onboarding players who want to get acquainted with the system's basics while also not having to put in a lot of effort to learn the character themselves. So yeah, that's what makes a pub stomper. That's why we hate them.